stream to see how. I feel like a gremlin just hunching over. All right, let's see. Oh, it doesn't think I'm live just yet. Did I just go live to like my? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Hello, hello. Is this working? Hello, hello. Is this working? Hello, hello. Wait, is this working? Hello? Hello, hello. Wait, is this working? Hello? Hello, hello. Wait, is this working? Hello? Oh, hello, the desktop audio is not on the right thing. I'm ear fucking people. Oh, the desktop audio is big time. Holy shit. Yo, can you guys hear us? Tell me if say one in chat if you can hear us. All right. I'll move this to a better position. Nope. Oh, fuck you, dude. Ban that guy.
Banned.
There we go. All right, get in the shot. Get in the shot. I have my questions
nice close. Oh, you want like questions?
I'm like a professional.
You're like a professional interviewer. Right. Wow.
That's right.
Wow.
Wow, look how many friggin' people there are already.
Wow, look at Talking Esports. Are we in Berlin? Is that where that's where we're at right now?
We're in Berlin. Oh, actually, you know what? That just made me realize. That's the good lighting.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I mean, you could also have that as the background instead of the hotel door, but
that
would require
I don't give a shit.
Any modicum of preparation and
nobody gives a shit.
Foresight.
Nobody cares.
Would you guys like to see this hotel door, or would you like to see what it looks like outside on this
no, it doesn't
beautiful,
matter.
Sunny Berlin day?
It doesn't matter. This way people don't know where we are. We can't get doxxed by all the huge fans in chat. There's so many of them.
Yeah, you mean the place that we're staying at, the place that ESL literally ran a content piece where they go around the hotel showing every part of it.
Yeah, that
and thanking the hotel for doing whatever they do.
My
there's no way anybody could possibly figure out.
My iPad's not working, so just another. Listen, all I have in this fucking Google Drive is just questions for you. Okay. All right, we'll. Am I cheating on Bubby? Maybe.
He's got multiple bubbies.
Yeah, there's a.
He's a polygamous bubby.
No, that's not. It just takes a while for somebody to enter into the bubby sphere. That's all.
Yeah, but how it is. Am I wrong that you have multiple bubbies?
I have my main bubby.
Okay, but you have lots of other people that you call bubbies.
Not lots of other people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
No, it's not.
Okay, you call me your bubby. BSJ is your bubby.
You're my Arkosh bubby.
Ephey is your bubby.
BSJ is a bubby.
Slacks is your bubby.
Slacks is a bubby.
Yeah.
That's right. Ephey's a bubby. Cap podcast topics. All right, shut the fuck up with this bubby stuff. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Talking Esports podcast, Berlin.
Of course, because we're in Berlin.
We
have to come to Berlin to talk about esports.
Yeah, right.
There's no other place we could talk about esports.
It's been very expensive to get here.
In fact, next episode is going to be Talking Esports Shanghai. So
yeah, and
be sure to tune in for that one.
And we got here by balloon, by Zeppelin, so it's been quite expensive.
Yeah.
So this one, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be about. We're going to talk a little bit about the major. But I figured since, everybody's talking about the major, and you are always the guy that is asking other people questions because you're a talent and because you have your own podcast. Let's talk about you.
you know my podcast is not. I don't interview people on my podcast. In fact, it's pretty explicitly about me
whatever.
And sometimes about.
I'm telling you, I've not seen you get into some of the things that we've gotten into.
Okay.
That I think are interesting and you should share with the world.
Okay.
Talking about Medusa now, we're not going to talk about her. Okay, so let's talk about the early days of Dota.
Early days of Dota.
Yeah.
Dark days.
How hard? Well, number one, where did you start with esports? And number two, how hard was it compared to the really easy job that we have now? Or
so you want me to shit on the modern generation of talent?
Yeah.
What you want? Okay.
That's exactly.
I could definitely do that.
That's exactly what
I've become the old man in esports. Okay. I started in esports when Okay, so I played Dota 1 competitively with some friends. I played on like G Arena. I actually played against like we would scrim sometimes against Pain Gaming. So I knew King RD all the way back in the Dota 1 days. And I ended up joining the military. I came back from my training, and my team had half of them had moved on to Heroes New Earth. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm moving to Heroes New Earth.
Everybody did.
Yeah. So then I played Han. A friend of mine suggested that we do some casting.
Yeah.
He wanted to do it. I didn't. But I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll tag along. And then he didn't show. And so I ended up doing it with somebody else. It was for a site called GameReplays.org.
That's so scuffed.
.org.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
Good site. That site is still up. I still occasionally go back there and look at it. They had like community tournaments where it was like $1,000 or $2,000, and then they would get the community to cast the games for them, and then all they would really provide is like the recorders, so the observers that would also do the streaming. Actually, there wasn't even streaming; they would just record the VOD. That's all they would do.
So that's what they were called, recorders.
Yeah, it was a purely YouTube based system, and then you would upload the YouTube replay to it was like a forum. Yeah. So you would upload the YouTube to a forum, and it would make a thread of this match, and then people would go and watch the YouTube video, and then they would comment. Yeah. So live streaming wasn't really a thing at that point in time. So
God damn, this gave me nostalgia. And I didn't do this. I mean, I did other scuff shit. So what year was this?
This was probably. I mean, again, you can go on to GameReplays.org, and you could probably go back through the VOD section of Han and find my first cast. So I've done that before. It was probably like 2000.
That sounds like a good YouTube video, actually.
Yeah,
like your first cast.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that, but it's pretty cringe. The 2009, 2010, somewhere in back there. So
you should do it, dude.
It's a long.
That's a banger. That's a banger YouTube video.
It's really fucking cringe.
That means it's good. That means it's gonna be fucking good.
We'll see. I think I would need like someone like you to like be with me to do it or something.
I'm down for that, dude.
Me watching it by myself.
I watched one of Perk's old Dota 1 videos where he was playing like Invoker mid, and he's playing against some Storm Spear, and he's like, dude, this guy fucking sucks. He rotates. He's really bad. Just like so toxic. And it's still up on his YouTube channel. But it's like it's gold because nobody knew. Nobody knew back then. Yeah. So we should do it. Okay, so you uploaded. So what you uploaded?
So yeah, that's how I started as a caster there. I kind of got a taste for it.
They would upload replays to the site. You would download the replays. You would watch them, record it, and go to.
No, we would actually
YouTube.
No, we would actually be able to get into the Han. So in Han, you would be able to get in as an observer.
Yeah.
And then we would have a guy. We would watch the game and live cast it, but we wouldn't be streaming it. They would just be recording it
and then putting it on like YouTube.
And then they would put it on YouTube, and then they would put the YouTube video on the forum.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's how I started. I started there. I actually like way back in the day, like Dota 1. I actually contacted Toby to like do some Dota casting, but I never followed through with that.
So how did that turn into you do it for a job? That's how you started. Okay, why did you do it for fun in the first place? It was just your buddy that asked, and you're like, sure, that sounds fun?
Yeah, pretty much. I was decent at the game, but I wasn't quite like pro level, and that has been the constant through Dota 1, Han, Dota 2.
It's hard, dude. It's fucking hard.
Like good at the game, like big picture, like very good at the game, right?
Yeah.
But not good enough to actually be a pro, right?
We'll get to that topic.
We'll
get to the 8K MMR topic. Okay.
So you know, obviously I like the game. So instead, you know, why not make a job out of casting it? So yeah, I just did it volunteer. It was purely a hobby. I didn't actually expect to make a career out of it.
Yeah.
And then I did that for Dota 2, and then I ended up through a friend of mine, the complexity manager, called Chappie. He hooked me up with.
I remember Chappie.
Yeah, he was a good friend of mine that went back to Han and Dota 1, and we were watching Toby solo cast some game, and I was just like, why the fuck is the biggest Dota caster in the game solo casting? And Chappie's like, well, why don't you ask to co-cast with him? I was like, I don't know him. Like, I don't really like. I had him on Skype, but we didn't really talk at all.
Yeah.
And I was
So
like,
this was what was
so
this?
he actually did the. He was like, I'm gonna talk to him.
So this
See
was
if you want
Han?
to co-cast. No, this was Dota.
So
2.
this was when Dota 2 came
Yeah,
out.
so
He's
I
not
was
the one-
already
the big
like
guy.
I was like a Han caster, and then I was a Dota 2 caster, and I did some like solo casting in Dota 2. I did some Absolute Legends, King of the Hill tournament and stuff like that. But I really only kind of got my breakthrough casting with Toby. That was kind of like when I.
Did you just like you just Skyped him or something? You're just like, yo, dude, you need to go.
No,
cast me?"
Chappie did that.
Chappie did that for you. Okay.
Chappie said, "Hey, I've got a guy who wants to like cast with you," and I was used to being the play-by-play, so I maybe like took some of Toby's job on that first cast.
Oh,
but
way she goes. Do you remember Ham Sandwich?
Vaguely, yeah, I recognize that name for sure.
Dude, I remember Ham Sandwich. I remember when I was watching like the defense. Those tournaments. The defense 2 was like so shitty in terms of like the audio quality and everything in the game, and people bought tickets, and it was like the first time ever that you could buy like a tournament ticket for something on a video game, right? Like the ticket system was like totally brand new. So to apologize for how bad it was, they gave away these like chests that could drop random Dota items that at that time were very valuable. But I remember watching that, and when I could hear the audio, hearing Ham Sandwich casting, and I went to the same university as him, and so I was like, I went to the Dota club to try to meet him, like because I figured I was like, if there's like a Dota club and this guy's like a Dota guy at or casting, the defense, like he's gonna be at the Dota club at this university.
Yep.
And he was, and I don't remember much of the interaction other than it was extremely cringe. It was extremely cringe.
Him or you?
For me, meeting him, because it was like it hadn't like, to be honest, I wasn't like following the guy or something, because it was literally I just saw him in the defense. It was just like, just because he's the guy casting the tournament, I wanted to like talk to him or something like that.
Yeah.
But he
probably didn't know exactly what you wanted to say.
No,
so it was just like, I want to talk to you, but I don't know what to talk to you about.
Yeah, and never the forced friendship never went anywhere. And then he stopped casting, and then you started casting with Toby. I remember.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, what happened to that goddamn Ham Sandwich? But it's so funny because like he way before I did anything in Dota, like I met this guy that was like the Toby co-commentator. Okay, so you joined, so that eventually led to you like join Dota. Were you actually like employed as a?
Yeah, I was getting a salary, working for the company's called Freaks for You. They're still around. They do, they're kind of like the go-between between developers and they kind of like set up tournaments and stuff like that. But yeah, they ran Join Dota, so I was working my job at the paper factory, and Toby asked like, hey, would you ever want to like move to Berlin and cast full time? And I was just like, sure. I never really thought about that, to be honest.
So you moved to Berlin?
I moved to Berlin.
So you lived here?
Yeah, I lived here in Berlin.
We're home.
I mean, not really Berlin. It was Spandau is not really Berlin.
Is that where they still are?
Yeah, that's where they still are.
Okay.
It's a really shitty part of Berlin.
I was there for
it's the retirement community of Berlin.
It seemed pretty nice. It seemed pretty nice.
I mean, it's nice and it's quiet, but there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really think that you're in Berlin.
When I was there, which was way after you did the Join Dota stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think you were already casting like TIs and shit like that when I went to this like qualifier. It was the most boring office I've ever fucking seen, dude. It was so depressing for an esports office. I remember walking in and there's just these gray cubicles everywhere, and just thinking like, what the hell is the point of this? You're doing video games, something that's supposed to be so fun, and it's just the most boring office, and their employees, they're clickety clacking away, just looking exactly like. I mean, I guess that's the thing. An office is an office, but you would cast from there, right? Like they had like a bunch of radio casting rooms.
Yeah, we would cast from there. We had basically a little room that was set up for a one camera shot, and you would cast from there. And that was oftentimes where I would sleep as well.
You would sleep there.
Yeah, I would sleep in those offices.
All right, let's.
It was truly awful.
This is the point where I want you to start complaining about how fucking easy it is these days.
Okay. So I was making they'll get, if they ever hear about this, they'll get quite mad. So I should make this very clear. I was not getting paid minimum wage, but I was getting paid close to minimum wage, and then I was also getting they would take a majority cut from any of the tournaments that I worked.
Yeah.
Back then that was like ESL1 Frankfurt. I made, I think, like they sold me for ESL1 Frankfurt, which was like a premier tournament.
Wait, sorry. So they would take like over 50%?
Yeah, they would take like 80%.
Holy shit. And so this was like what, 2010, 2012?
No, this was like 20 I joined them 2013.
Wait, Dota 2 was
December 1st.
Dota 2 was when? 2012 Dota 2 came out?
I mean, yeah, I mean the beta system started in 2011.
2011 is when it, okay. So this was like, you said 2005?
No,
2015?
13.
13. Okay. So
like
so
I
really,
joined
so
them
really
after TI 3.
Okay.
Because my first TI was TI 4.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's like relatively early in terms of Dota timeline.
Yeah.
Dota 2 timeline. Okay.
Which for me at the time felt like I was coming into it late. Right?
Yeah.
Because everybody gets a jump start. Like the earlier you get in, right, the easier it is.
Yeah.
So like I felt like I was behind basically, and then I was trying to jump in. Now I'm the, I talked to Shiva. I'm like, we're the old ones. Like we were kind of the like we were a second generation of casters at some point in time.
So
and then
getting old,
everybody else. I mean, I'm not retiring like those motherfuckers. I'll be around forever. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I feel like I used to feel like I was the new blood. Now it's like I'm the old blood. All these newbies coming. It's like, oh, come here, Kezu. Who's a good little boy? You know what I mean? Anyway, you were saying they would take 60%.
Like 80%.
80%.
You're really bad at remembering.
Whatever. Majority.
Like sometimes when you do this, I'm like, is this like a bit?
No, I'm just fucking stupid. I'm just really stupid. Yo, cut that part out, editor. All right? Don't make me look like an idiot. Cut that part out. So they pay you a little under minimum wage.
No, a little over minimum wage. To be clear, under would be illegal.
Wait, why did you set up with this whole?
Because I once said I was getting paid minimum wage, and I remember that somebody at the company got very mad, and they were like, "We do not pay you minimum wage." And I was like, "Well, I was being a little facetious, but it was pretty close to minimum wage."
Okay.
For Germany.
I understand. Okay, that's not that bad. That's not
And also 80%. But I think if I remember correctly, Belk sold me for ESL1 Frankfurt, which was like the biggest tournament outside of TI at its time.
Yeah.
For I think $300 a day, something like that. So, what I was left with at that point in time was very little.
All right, $300 a day. Let me do the math on that. Yeah. $300 a day. You're working like realistically probably 12 hours a day. I imagine at that point that was probably
Yeah. Okay. So back in the day, it was like when you did these tournaments, you would all go in together, which is something that I've recently realized causes some problems in the talent. Is even though our schedules are easier than they've ever been, people will still complain about the schedule because somebody has it easier than you. Right? No matter how. So if I have to work 2 hours, but that guy only had to work 1 hour, and if I only have to work at 1 hour, but this guy only has to work 30 minutes.
That's so true.
Fair, right?
That's so true.
And what I realized is we never, or at least I felt like this. Maybe it was just because I was new, but I felt like there wasn't really that kind of issue in the talent scene.
Yeah.
Probably for a lot of reasons. Probably a lot of it just a lot of people just happy to be paid at all, period, working the events, that sort of thing. But one thing I think was really big, and I think it's a psychological effect, is we all had to go in at the same time. There wasn't these constant shuttles going back and forth, right? You would all start the day at the same time.
Stay there for the whole day.
Right? And you would stay there for the whole day, and then you would all leave at the same time. So you effectively, even if some people were working more, right? You work 2 or 3 series, I only have to work 1 or something like that. You were still there the whole day.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it created, I think, like a psychological effect of kind of like we're all in this together sort of thing, and nobody's getting like screwed. Because if you're there, you might as well work, right?
Yeah.
It's like we all enjoy our work. So if you're going to be there, would you rather be there not working or be there working? Personally, I would rather be
for sure working, because then like even if it feels like work, the time passes.
Yeah,
quicker.
exactly.
You're feeling like you're having a good time.
Yeah, it's sitting around waiting is the worst.
No, that is the worst. Yeah. That is the worst. It makes time go like so slowly. How long were the days if you were all going in at the same time?
They were pretty long days. A lot of times, they were 4 best of 3 days. So they like a lot of time it was back in the day, it was starting at like, okay, getting up at like, shuttles at 7, 8, 9 a.m., something like there was like a real, job starting time. Whereas nowadays I feel like all tournaments start like noon is the earliest that we start.
Yeah.
So but they had to start that early because it was 4 best of 3. So,
Yeah. Sorry, people are questioning if it's live. Of course it's live. What are you guys fucking stupid? Of course it's live. What in God's... When have I ever done why would I do this?
This is
not
pre-recorded.
live?
Jenkins just fit this.
This is... Can you guys ban Geared Up 69 to prove to him that it's fucking live? Just get him out. Get him out. Just get him banned. Where's the mods at? God, mods are so useless.
Yeah, for this impromptu stream.
Yes, exactly.
That you did.
Then kiss. Ban him. Get him out. That's for the OnlyFans stream afterwards. Okay, so sorry. The days were very long. Very, very long. And
longish.
And how was the sleep situation for you back then? Were you getting a good 8 hours when you...
I mean, it was definitely, there wasn't as much free time, so I remember it was just a lot of like, go to work, do the work, and then you get back. You don't
I remember. You were saying you were sleeping on the floor of the
Join Dota office.
The Join Dota office. Yes. That's what that's why it clicked in my head, the sleeping thing. Yeah. What situation did you have to sleep on the floor in the Join Dota offices?
Okay, so some people might remember this. You might remember this. I had my first bit of controversy in my career. That was during do you remember the infamous TI4 EU hub? Right?
Yeah,
the Sheever, the kittens under the couch, and No Tail playing, playing Mario Kart. Okay, so I put out a tweet during that time, which was something like, it's sad that like people are more interested in sitting around bullshitting than actually casting the games or something like that.
Yeah.
People got really mad at that because, it was like people really loved the TI4E.
I don't remember that controversy.
Okay, that was the first bit of controversy, and people rightfully were mad at what I said. There is a lot of context that goes into that, and I was just mad, and here's why. So I did not get to go to the TI4 EU hub because I had to work the ESL 1. So the ESL 1 Frankfurt show had these big qualifiers.
Yeah.
They were very, very important qualifiers, but they were going to be happening at the same time as the TI qualifiers that were coming up. So I couldn't go to that because I was the only other caster. Toby was going to go to the EU hub, and I was going to stay behind and do all of these qualifiers that were going on. And the schedule was extremely intense for esports stuff. Yeah. And it was like, I would have to do like the Chinese like final, best of 5. And I would have to do that from, let's say like 2 a.m. to like 7 a.m. And then I would have to work again for like the European upper bracket finals or something like that at like 3 p.m. And then I would have to do the American finals at like 9 p.m.
Oh my God.
So I literally, there was days where I was just like, there was this whole like 2 week, and there was a few days in that period where I would sleep in the studio, and I would just like, I would wake up, I would cast, and I would sleep for like 2 or 3 hours in the chair setup that I had with those fucking gamer chairs. And then I would wake up and I would cast, and I would try and sleep for another like 2 hours or something. And I would wake up and I would cast, and I would just, I did that for like, 24, 36 hours or something.
Dude, that is so fucking dangerous. Holy shit. I mean,
but these were really big games at the same time, right? It was the Chinese Grand Finals, right? It was the European Grand Finals. It was like really big games, so they were really good opportunities for me. But I was, obviously a bit sleep deprived. I was also just in general mad because like, the hubs were happening and they looked really fun, but I couldn't go.
Yeah.
I was stuck in the office, and those fucking German offices.
Yo, dude, that
white walls and gray carpet.
Bro, that probably did not help. Did Slacks ever tell you the story of the people that he did the sleep study on, that they were like craving grape juice?
No, huh?
You don't know that story? Okay. So what you were basically just describing is I don't know if it's like the Da Vinci sleeping schedule or whatever. There's a name for it. Like where you're polyphasic, where you sleep like a few times in a day.
Oh yeah.
And so Slacks was like testing in his like neuroscience thing. He was testing with a group, obviously, what happens to your brain when you sleep for these short periods in a day, and then like it adds up to like roughly 8 hours. And then they said that like cognitively, everybody seemed to perform very well when they would come in for testing. They could do all the tests and stuff, and they would pass and everything. But then people started coming in with gallon jugs of grape juice, and then like the lead scientist or whatever was like, "Oh, the grape juice has like some enzyme in it that is for like the brain to physically repair the body." So so what they did is they had people go outside and try to run 100 meters, and they would fall over. Literally everybody would fall over. So their brains were recovering, but their bodies weren't.
Yeah, okay.
And that's probably what was happening to you, is that you were able to wake up and cast and do fine, but like there was all this random shit happening in your body. You didn't realize that you were like fucking yourself over big time.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like there's I don't know if it's still like this in esports, but even when I got in, I feel like there were sacrifices of sleep and obviously comfort, because it doesn't pay very well at the start. Like there's at least a few years of like just getting, you know, less than minimum wage. Yeah. At this point, you even had a job, so that's like already pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely, I was pretty secure, way more secure than most other esports people at that time. But the conclusion of that, where the tweet came from, was that while I was on that schedule and doing all this stuff, and like I was working very hard, I heard about. I won't call him out because I actually do like this person. But I heard about somebody complaining that they had to go. So the TI4 EU hub was set up where it was the fun stream, the couch stream, where they would kind of watch the games, they would bullshit, and then there was an actual casting segment.
Yeah.
There was an actual casting stream. So there was one person, but in general people, but mostly one person, complained about having to go and do the actual casting because they wanted to just be on the couch, right? And I heard about this, and I'm you know, on my schedule and stuff, and I was just mad. I was just like, what the fuck?
I see.
And of course, there was the NA hub was happening at the same time, and they're doing much more serious analysis, and the EU hub was doing their fun thing, which was very entertaining, very fun. Loved it. But you know, I was just super mad that like come on, motherfucker, like, are you serious? You just like, yeah, you have to go and do a best of 3.
I'm trying to think of who it was
before you have to hang out with the rest of the crew. Meanwhile, I'm in my fucking office dungeon.
Dude, is this person still in the scene?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, they're not.
We'll let chat try to figure out who it is. You didn't call anybody out in particular.
But yeah, so then so I made that tweet. It created a lot of controversy. Went up on Reddit. And the company actually got mad at me, and Toby apparently also got mad at me, or maybe he didn't. I don't know exactly. And I remember I was just like, I stood my ground. I was just like, I remember my boss was talking to me, and like basically the company was like, you can't do stuff like this, and I was like, I don't give a fuck. That was my attitude. I was just like, I don't care. I speak my truth. And of course, like I still, like, looking back at it, and even at that time, I realized, like, I do know that, like, that was not a well-worded tweet, and there was context involved.
It was like 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago. I get it.
But you know, like, I was still like, nah, fuck you guys.
Bro, I wrote some dumb shit on the internet.
You guys do not get to tell me what I do and do not put on social media.
Is that when you quit?
No, I didn't quit till after, in like 2015.
After you realized that
after TI5.
After you realized that minimum wage is nowhere near enough to cover
after
the $220 a day they were taking from you, or whatever.
Yeah,
260.
I mean, rates started going up a lot more, and obviously my rate went up a lot more because I got more successful and more in demand. There were more tournaments happening, so like I had an understanding of like what I was being sold for.
Yeah,
and just being like, you guys are taking all of this money. Why don't I just take that money, all of it? And
that tends to be how people
instead of paying me a salary, you know, like, and trying to negotiate with the company was very difficult because they're very German.
Yeah.
And I being that in a a good way actually. They were actually trying to make a profit or not lose money in esports.
Yeah.
So that is pretty difficult. So they were very against giving me much of a raise or anything like that. So I left.
Okay, I saw a question in chat that I think was pertinent, and I also had it written down here actually already for you. Because I remember at the start for me, you gave me some very valuable advice, which I guess I'll start with the anecdote or the thing that you said to me that was quite impactful. I went home and I told my girlfriend, I was like, "Oh, this Cap guy, he's great. He said something really nice to me. I think I really liked his people." It was like Omega League. I knew
I must have just bullshitted.
I knew of
hard.
like I knew of you. Like we were both kind of around, but
Yeah.
we weren't friends. Like we
Yeah.
just didn't spend enough time together. But I remember you said to me something along the lines of like, we need people that are willing to look like an idiot on the panel. Something along the lines of that. Because I remember I was feeling like, I'm not fucking PPD. I'm not like one of these smart, like big brain guys. And I felt very insecure about that. And I think you had a read on that, and you were like, "No, dude, you're like, people like you are needed on the panel." And like, legitimately, I went home thinking like, just like, how can my mentality changed to like, instead of how can I be the most smart, it was like, how can I be of the most value?
Yeah.
To the job.
Did I tell you the shooter and the shooter analogy?
No.
Okay, so I actually stole this one from Thorin, but he said, in when it comes to like acting and stuff like that, everybody wants to be the protagonist who shoots, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be the cool guy
Keanu
who gets the
Reeves.
shot, gets the girl, has the witty one-liner. But in order to have that person, you also need somebody who gets shot, right? You also need somebody, you need a bad guy, or you need somebody who can take the joke. And somebody so you need both sides. You need somebody who delivers the joke. You need somebody who takes the joke very well. And they're both very important. And being the person who takes the joke is an underrated, right? It's an underrated aspect of dynamics in general, because like it's unappreciated, right?
Yeah.
It's like because there's some people just can't take jokes, right? They become offended. It creates an awkward, intense atmosphere. You need somebody who can, take those shots and be okay with it. I thought that was very pertinent to casting duos and stuff like that. And that was probably something similar that I was trying to project onto you, which was you need like having people that just get a reaction out of other people. And because everybody is insecure, nobody like, I feel like that's the most insecure, or that's the most terrifying thing for insecure people, is to be the clown, to be made fun of.
Yeah. No, it's like, something about like, also when you're doing the job, it's like something clicks on where it's like, I don't care if I'm that guy, because I'm just a character. I'm just this character that's like on the screen or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes where clowns come from, is that it's like you start and it's like, oh, that's scary, being made fun of, and then something clicks and you're just like, now this is my whole personality, where it's just like, now I'm just like all in. Like, you can't make fun of me if I'm always making fun of myself. Sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And
dude, this is why I think BSJ, by the way, is so good, and I'm really glad that he's finally coming back in, because it's like there's so many things you can do with him that you cannot do with anybody else.
Yeah, because he is a very specific and has a strong personality, and so it's easy to make fun of. But he's so good.
He takes it very well.
He takes it super well.
Yeah.
He's very gracious in that regard.
Like, takes it very well.
Of course you would laugh.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so yeah, anecdote aside, very beautiful anecdote, or I don't know, analogy or proverb, whatever. It helped me a lot. What advice would you have for? Because I know there's a lot of people now that see the TIs and stuff, and they want to get into casting. How would you do it now if you had to? Because I know obviously with Avery, like you grinded for the last like you did like the streaming thing for like a year. You guys didn't get DPC. All of a sudden you're back in the mix. You're like top 2, top 3, whatever, depending on how people want to argue. Top 1 maybe. Casting duo from like just building the synergy. Like how would you get into casting if you're a total newbie right now?
Okay, so I used to always say, like way back, like 2015, I used to always say that I think in order to make it at any talent industry, you need skill, hard work, luck. Those are 3 things, and you need 2 out of 3 of them. Okay, so if you are extremely skilled and you work extremely hard, you'll probably make it. If you are just skilled and you get lucky, you'll make it. I think so, skilled and lucky. This doesn't take away from Owen's hard work, but like I think Owen's a pretty good example of that, right? Like extremely skilled, he was on his way out, but he got lucky on a game, and now he's the voice of Dota.
No,
right?
he's like a born with talent.
Yeah, that like he is crazy good at casting, and he obviously like works hard. I don't know exactly all the work that he does, but I feel like he is just naturally very skilled.
There's and I mean this with the absolute most respect possible. He's like an idiot savant where like, do you know he wall sit for 5 minutes the other day?
I know. That's telling me
the guy has literally no physical like.
He just went into some sort of Zen mode.
He walks. Yeah, he walks, right? And it's like, I started wall sitting with Blitz like a couple majors ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been doing it at home, practicing and stuff. And I'm up to like a few minutes. And I was so proud of myself. Like, I'm going to show Daddy Blitz. You know, I'm going to fucking wall sit for 3 minutes. Owen does it for the first time ever. A guy that's never wall sit before.
Mm-hmm.
And he sits for 5 minutes. And Blitz is like, Blitz has massive tree trunk legs. And he's like, dude, I can't do it for more than 3 minutes. And Owen said he astral projected himself somewhere, and he was flying across the world. And he visited his family in England. He visited the Netherlands, and it's like, dude, that's not a reason to somehow have these abnormally strong muscles.
Yeah.
But like his mind just works in ways that.
Yeah. And you know what the best part is that like that whole anecdote. I don't know whether I believe Owen. Or he's just having a laugh when he says that. Equal possibilities.
It's equal possibilities, but also the thing is, like, it doesn't matter which one's true because it doesn't make his legs stronger.
Yes, exactly.
Because 5 minutes of wall sitting, anybody who hasn't wall sit is like, oh, it's easy to sit on a wall. I challenge you, go try to do it for like 30 seconds. If you've never done it before, it's hard to get to a minute. It's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, you know, my shirt's a bit sticky. You know, it's like, dude, that's not a fucking reason. You know, anyway. Genius savant, yes.
So and then I think I'm a great example of hard work and luck, right? I worked very hard and I grinded at it for a very long time, and I still needed to get lucky. Yeah. I still needed Toby to I still needed a friend to introduce me to Toby and basically ask like, hey, can this guy co-cast with you? I still needed that connection to be able to get a job in esports. Nowadays, I think you need all 3. I think you need to be skilled, hardworking, and you still need to get lucky in order.
Which, of course, you are skilled now, but because you put the work in, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I actually remember hearing your like literal voice transition from just guy to like radio voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you're fucking balls drums or whatever, but I remember hearing you cast on the old defense stuff, and you know you were not bad. But then,
at least says I sound more nasally when I cast now.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of what makes it good. I don't know.
I mean, part of it. I naturally. So I'm talking at a lower register now, but I talk at a higher register when I'm casting.
Yeah.
Because in part, I'm trying to. It's just like how I talk. If I was talking to a stranger, right, I would talk in a higher register because I'm like trying to be friendlier.
Yeah. More energy,
as opposed to like Purge, who like remains at his lowest register
Jesus.
at all times.
He's an AI.
So, So I think so if you want to make it in now, I think you need to be very skilled, and you're gonna have to be willing to work really hard. And you're gonna need some luck. Part of that luck is probably if you're gonna be casting, establishing a duo. If you're gonna be an analyst, you got to create some unique content. I think the biggest thing about being talent is like to be yourself. That's like a little trite fucking line that everybody uses, but you need to be yourself, but like juiced up, you know? You need to be
that's another thing you told me.
You need to be authentic to your personality, right? Yeah. Like you cannot fake it. Not in esports, not in like esports talent work where, well, okay, maybe you can now when you've got like 2-minute panel segments into a 3-minute commercial break.
That's another. That's ESL. That's ESL.
Yeah, but a lot of esports broadcasts are like there's a long period of time you cannot fake who you are for that long.
But you can pump it up to 110%.
But you can
do that.
Yeah,
you can do that. Because I remember that's also something that you said to me at another event. Event, that was another little like nugget of advice that stuck with me. It was the like, be you, but amp it up. because it's easier to just amp up yourself than it is to like fake some personality. It's like
you need to be interesting. You need to be interesting, and I think when you go to the extreme of your personality, that makes you naturally more interesting. Maybe more divisive, but I think more divisive is also means more interesting.
Like Slacks rolling and rubbish. Okay, that's exactly right. That's exactly.
Slacks is 100%. That is Slacks who he is. He still is that way off camera.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, he does not go to after parties. He doesn't like hang out with us a bunch. And you know, I think it's mostly because he puts so much of himself into the broadcast. So I think he's just fucking done.
He is every time the cab ride home, he's like,
yeah, exactly. And then you start talking to him, and he still goes back to like Slacks.
He does.
But he is obviously like exhausted.
I literally just point and fucking laugh at him, and he goes, "What's your problem?"
Yeah. So yeah, Slacks is himself, but I think he's pumping himself up.
So establish a casting duo. You need to get skilled. You need to work hard, and you need to do it for long enough that the opportunity of luck comes around, and because at some point, you know, you flip a coin enough times, it's gonna flip heads 5 times in a row. You just might have to wait a while.
Yeah.
So you need to put time. Not only do you have to put time in for hard work, you have to put time in for the opportunity to come by. Because I think a lot of people are good. Like for instance, like I remember looking at Snare's Twitch at one point and seeing all of these games that he casted and thinking and then, you know, I'd listen to it, and he has a very unique voice because he's from South Africa, and a super unique accent. He's got the cadence, he's got everything. And then thinking like, why the hell is this guy not getting hired for events? But that's where the luck comes in. Because you see a guy that's really hardworking, he's got the skill, but it just hadn't happened yet. And then when it eventually does, it's like, it makes sense. But I think a lot of people, they actually have the skill and they're working hard enough, but they give up before the opportunity hits. And it's just like, that's where the like sacrifice of time comes in, where you just like, you might get fucked for a year, where you're good enough for a year.
Or you might never get it.
You might never get it.
It's possible.
You might never get it.
I think I did a casting review with some of the lower tier casters or whatever, like the online casters. And Snare was one of them. And yeah, he like definitely impressed me. And I think the biggest thing about him is that I don't know if he is a play-by-play caster. Maybe he's a play-by-play caster. I don't think he's an analyst, but I knew he was talented. Like 100%. Like he just had personality, and he was outgoing, and he was interesting. Right. And I told him that. I was like, you know, I there were certain things that I really liked about him, and I said, you're a talent. Like you are. Like, I could just tell that you are going to be good on camera, and you will be good at these things. But I just don't know where your position is. And I think host is probably the right position for him.
He's really good at it.
But yeah, like he's a great interview in that regard. He comes across as very authentic. He really wants to actually listen to you and stuff like that.
Yeah, he does.
It's a really good...
he finds things interesting as well. Like he genuinely finds a lot of things interesting.
Yeah, he just likes talking to people.
I'll talk to him about like philosophy or like diarrhea or like whatever. And whatever it is, like he's
actually... 2 sides of the Jenkins coin, philosophy and diarrhea. Which one is it going to be?
He's actually fully into it. I'm like, I like this guy, man. I really like Snare.
Yeah, I know. He's a very nice guy.
Okay, so I got to go to this rehearsal in like 9 minutes. So I'll rush and get to, okay. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about was that I think you've always had an interesting attitude towards social media.
Okay.
I think I think there's also, I mean, you could argue that it's unhealthy. You could argue that it's healthy. I would say that given the position that we're in and how I know I feel towards, you know, people saying mean shit about you, as talent, like I think, okay. Let me just get you fucking fight with people, right? You go on Twitter, you see somebody like saying something sexist about Shiver, and you're just like, you're a little bitch, come fucking fight me. Or, you know, like for instance with like the Fart Studios thing when we got kicked out of DPC, you were in the Reddit thread.
It was PR control,
responding. You were responding to people that were clearly not reading the post. And you're like, dude, you're an idiot. You didn't even read the post. Why do you do that?
Okay.
Where did that attitude come from?
Okay, I agree. It is simultaneously healthy and unhealthy. It just depends on the reason you're doing it. Okay, so the reason that I do this is because I think the absolute healthiest thing would be to not read these things at all.
Yeah.
Right? It would be absolutely healthiest to never read these negative and misinformed commentary and let it get into my head.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I am lacking in self-control in that regard, and I can't stop myself from doing it. That part is the unhealthy part. Okay.
Yeah,
So
got
I
you.
do engage in Reddit and social media, and it's part of it is because I think it's important for my job. I think like my relationship with the community is important.
Yeah.
It's like the community is the reason I have a job. So I think that is important. The reason that I fight with people and the reason that I can't let that stuff go is because I know I can't let it go. I see it and it enters into my head, and then that's going to stick with me for a while. Like it's going to work its way into my subconscious. It's going to be something that I think about, like, you know, like a couple hours later, like, oh fuck, that guy said that, man, that was really stupid or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I know that happens to me. So what I have found my solution is to respond. I accept the fact that this is
out of your system.
Yeah, exactly. I see this thing. I know it's worked its way into my head, so I give my response. As long as I give my response, I can just drop it.
Yeah.
I can literally just leave it at the door, because it's like it's gonna bother me that this person said something stupid or is misinformed in that regard, or is sexist or racist or whatever it is, and I won't get a chance to tell him like basically how wrong he is.
Yeah.
And that part maybe is I will acknowledge that part is probably maybe egotistical or unhealthy or something like that. But I know that I'm able to get it out of my head if I respond to somebody. So my mental health is better.
You don't even check the replies. You just respond.
Sometimes
you've got your like
even if they double down or something like that, or say something even stupider or something like that, like I can still just drop it. Sometimes I'll respond again
because you already said your piece.
Yeah, I already said my piece.
Yeah, and if they don't get it, then they've just proven like they're an animal. They're not misinformed. They're an animal. It's like, why are you getting mad at a dog barking on the street? You're not gonna be like, oh, damn that dog. You're just like, okay, well, this person's beyond saving. Okay.
I mean, that like
I understand.
Most of the time, I think you the way you put it was very antagonistic, and sometimes I am that way, but a lot of times I'm
down being antagonistic. I don't give a fuck anymore, bro.
A lot of times I aim to clear up misinformation. I hate misinformation. Yeah. I think it's one of the biggest like problems I have with internet culture in general. Misinformation is put out there all the time, and it spreads, and people just operate.
It just gets upvoted.
Yeah, exactly. People are gonna see this and like halfway digest an interview, and then I'm gonna see like fucking 5 weeks from now somebody's gonna be like, yeah, Cap said that Snare's a piece of shit. You know, it's just gonna be like,
nah, dude,
that's not what I said.
Everybody here is cool. We're
yeah, you guys are cool.
No, we're boys.
But
big,
yeah, so
PJ56 is in chat, by the way. That's my dad.
Hey, hi Jenkins, dad.
That's awesome.
I'm a big fan of your son. So good job with him.
I don't want fucking compliments. Okay, so yeah, it's to get it out of your head. I've been my rule these days has been, and I think I would do this even if I wasn't talent.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate the word talent. I feel like it's so cringe. If I wasn't, I know it's from like broadcasting and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But it's so weird as a gamer. It's like, you're talented. I don't have any talents.
Yeah. I love, why do they call them talent if they're not talented?
Yeah, that's
the first time anybody's come up with that joke. You're right.
As a caster, I think like reading social media is it's really easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you feel like, you want criticism, you want feedback, and then also like, I mean, if I didn't work in broadcasting, like I would still read Reddit.
Yes, exactly.
We're
all Redditors.
Everybody reads Reddit, especially in Dota. But my rule has been, and I got this from Lex Friedman. It was a great podcast.
Okay, sure.
15 minutes in the morning, ish. Like as soon as I get out of bed, I can't touch Reddit. I leave my phone in my backpack when we're like working, and then 15 minutes at night if I feel like it. But I usually don't. I'll usually like read at night or something like that. And I find that it's like, because to me it's like you are just the like aggregate of all of the thoughts in your head, obviously, and your thoughts are obviously going to come from somewhere external because they don't just poof out of nowhere magically.
Yep.
And so if you're reading all like chaos and carnage all the time, then everything that I'm projecting out of myself and everything I'm producing is going to be coming from this, chaos and fucking carnage. It's like eating chicken nuggies all the time and being like, why do I feel so unhealthy? It's like, dude, it's because your muscles and everything's being built from the nuggets. Like, it makes sense. So
I think it's super important to be in a good mental space as talent, because sometimes there are long hours, but in general, I think one of my biggest problems sometimes with other talent is just like, I think part of our job is to be in a good mood. Like, I literally think that's part of the job.
Oh, you're big on the green room vibes.
Exactly. You want to create a good, healthy, and like happy atmosphere because you take that onto the show.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it helps make the show much better. So I think it is important for you to be in a good mood. And that doesn't mean always like, you know, like being sometimes it's like SVG. He needs to put on his headset and just like vibe out to music.
He does.
Like especially something that amps him up. Right?
Yeah, he's really good at
like that. That is totally fine. It's just like bringing down the atmosphere, I think, is like actually really bad. Yeah, I'm talking about Trent. Trent's a real piece of shit.
He's an asshole.
That guy's a piece of
work. I remember you were like on a super health kick. Well, which, of course, you know, with your liver thing, which is now public. Now I understand why you were on the health kick, but also you're like a generally healthy person. You go to the gym, you work out, you're in the military, etc. Like, so you're generally healthy. But I remember you eating like some dirty, greasy cupcake in the green room, and I was like shaming you, and then you were like, this is making me feel good. The vibes in here like should be good, so I'm gonna eat this cupcake. And number one, I was like, this guy's coping big time. But then number two, I was like, you know, that actually makes sense. Like, you're about to go into some big cast. You want to have like good fucking vibes. If eating a dirty, greasy cupcake does that for you, then go for it.
I'm a sugar fiend too, so that definitely makes me happy. Sugar makes me happy. But yeah, that's also why like sometimes I just don't hang out with you guys. You know, because like I know I'm an introvert and I know I need to like recharge my battery. So like yesterday, I was like, you know, you guys were all downstairs drinking, and I was, you know, I was headed upstairs. Well, a lot of people were, and I looked down and just kind of like looked to see who was there. And, you know, Blitz saw me and he like waved at me and stuff like that. And I was like, I knew part of me wanted to go down there.
Yeah.
But I also knew part of me was just like, I need to not. I need to take some time with myself and just like chill out and vibe in my room. And
I feel you.
Especially since we've been broadcasting for 4 weeks straight.
Oh my god.
And we're almost at the end. I want to be in a good vibe and stuff for the
3 more days. We just gotta fucking blast it.
Yeah, and also like stadium days are always like super.
Yeah,
because you like go out and meet fans and stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that, right?
That's always intense. Speaking of which, I gotta go to rehearsal. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
We should do it again because I have way more questions for you because I think you're very interesting. But guys, that's gonna be it. Where can we find you?
Capcast on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, wherever.
Check him out, guys. A wonderful guy, fucking absolute legend in the scene. Extremely talented. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I love you guys, and we'll see you on the flip side. And that stream there. Dirty ball.